Brian Bouyea is a student enrolled at New England Tech. At the young age of 18, he has written and directed 2 movies and is currently working on a 3rd. We sat down with Brian Bouyea to talk about the experience in the film business.
The first movie I ever made was called, the first big movie I ever made was called Save the Trees.
His first feature film, Save the Trees, was a comedy release in 2008.
It pretty much spawned off this idea that I had when I was drinking an energy drink and I was wicked hyper. And I was just tired of how people just complain about everything, particularly things about the environment. And so I just kind of took all these wacky elements from my life and wrote them into the script and just expanded them into even more wackier things for just entertainment value. And it got to be this really big movie that like all kinds of people in my school were involved in. My second movie was called The Taxidermist.
He then went to a darker side and wrote a horror script, The Taxidermist.
It revolved around a character named Paul Bennett who killed people, taxidermied them, and put them in his basement. This one was a horror movie, not a comedy at all, clearly, but and he was driven, everything he did was driven by heartbreak. And anyone who's ever been in a relationship that's ended or has gotten broken up with and has been heartbroken at any time can really relate to this movie. Like, people have watched it and have picked out some elements that in some sick way they can actually relate to and they feel with the character. There's so much new stuff. I had more connections at the time with the police car, also with makeup. Makeup was a big advance for me. I had a friend named Jeremy Rastetter who did all the visual makeup effects for The Taxidermist. There's a scene where Paul Bennett actually is ripping out his own organs. It's the last shot in the movie. And he set the whole thing up with a plaster chest, with a mold of the actor Tyler Green's chest, and it was just, he did phenomenal work. My new film is called The Network. It's about a serial killer that works his way through social networking websites. It's one of the more intense films I've ever written, with one of the more diabolical characters I've ever created. It's just this violent, intense, over-the-top, dirty, gritty film that's going to scare the shit out of parents. Let's just put it that way.